Belly kicks off her morning chatting about fixing her sleep schedule with the crew. They are eating breakfast and spilling tea about an alarm gadget that hasn't made a peep. The suspense is honestly killing them while they wait to catch the mastermind who messed with the Bangboo. The squad debates if their secret operation against the Bangboo corruption got leaked. Bell points out that the culprit is probably waiting for the absolute perfect moment to strike. They figure the sudden influx of outsiders hitting Rose Caifer gives the villain premium cover to do something chaotic. Breakfast wraps up and the group splits to run errands. Bell stays behind to handle urgent digital matters, giving off major suspicious vibes to her friends. Once she gets Amber Hall entirely to herself, she braces for a strange visitor climbing through the window during broad daylight. Instead of a stealthy ninja, a food delivery person shows up wearing a massive mascot suit. It is Ramiel, completely stuck inside the giant head. After Belle helps her escape the costume, Ramiel flexes her teasing energy and jokes about dumping the original owner straight into a hollow. Ramiel drops some heavy lore about Enchainers, calling them the true rulers of the Great Hollows. She explains they are basically emissaries of the Creator. Belle suddenly realizes that the terrifying thing she faced back in Meridian Hollow was actually trying to evolve into one of these apex predators. The conversation shifts to Gertablulu and Bashmu being larvae with total main character potential to become Enchainers. Ramiel drops hints about Void Hunter weapons being the missing link. She asks about Belle's wild ability to manipulate Singularity Leakages, needing her help to track down the elusive monster. Valina suddenly barges in, forcing Ramiel to hide while Belle pretends to order a birthday cake. Valina actually wants Belle and Wise to roll up to the welcome tea party for the new Eridu guests. Belle realizes she has zero choice and just accepts her fate as the designated social butterfly. Arriving at the tea party, the vibe is surprisingly chill instead of super formal. Suddenly, a massive prank disrupts the event. Lindern explains it is just the Ina gang causing chaos because they are completely stressed about recent changes. They literally just wanted to make a statement with bananas. Lindern officially introduces herself to Belle and begs her to handle the exhausting small talk. She hates the stiff etiquette and passes the torch. Belle is completely terrified of talking to Claret, especially since her previous treatment basically burned through a ridiculous amount of the workshop's rare materials. Belle attempts to butter up Claret, but the workshop director immediately sees through the flattery. Claret is super salty about the wasted materials, but admits it was not Belle's fault. She demands Belle drop by the workshop later so she can inspect the etheric byproduct situation herself.
Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel.
Sigrid pulls Belle away for a side quest because some VIP guests got delayed in a storm. Belle has to act as the official welcoming committee for a bunch of hollow tech scholars. She learns she has to interact with a specific navigation specialist from High Ambitions Corp. Belle formally greets the exhausted scholars and immediately freezes when she recognizes Truvia. Truvia is her former classmate from Helios Academy, and the tension is immediately suffocating. Professor Salvi awkwardly points out their shared history, completely missing the absolute dread radiating from both of these former friends. Belle mentally spirals over how to handle Truvia after their falling out. Salvi practically forces them to hang out, so Truvia uses motion sickness as an excuse to ditch the main party. Sigrid happily sends them off for a walk in the park, trapping them in a deeply awkward reunion. They escape the crowd and stroll through the park. Truvia admits she feels way better outside and casually deflects questions about her strict dad. Belle notices the porcelain decorations and tries to gauge how much Truvia actually knows about the island's secrets and their shared traumatic past. They stop by a giant chessboard and briefly vibe over their old-school days. The nostalgia hits hard as they talk about playing matches and managing the video store. Truvia mentions her corporate research on holonavigation, making Belle intensely worried about the ocular implants they both share. Belle finally snaps and brings up the dangerous ocular implants, begging Truvia not to waste their shared memories. Truvia completely shuts her down, refusing to be dragged back to the horrific tragedy at Helios Academy. She firmly states that childhood is a tiny chapter not worth reliving. Wise interrupts the tense standoff, and Truvia quickly bounces to avoid dealing with both siblings. Wise comforts Belle, realizing they need a better strategy to warn Truvia about the hidden dangers. Suddenly, Norma sends a frantic message saying Toby's corrupted memory data is finally restored and ready. They rush to the academy and check Toby's recovered memory logs. They see a blurry culprit trapping the Bangboo inside a sketchy machine. While the villain's face is totally obscured, they spot an Ina gang graffiti tag in the background, giving them a solid lead to follow. Norma explains the Ina gang hangs out around Gear Street and uses bottle caps as currency. Sissia randomly saves the day by hoarding a massive stash of caps from her unemptied trash. The crew gears up to infiltrate the Bangboo market, ready to bribe their way to the truth. Bella arrives at Gear Street and spots a highly suspicious red mailbox guarded by an anxious Bangboo. She uses EOS to hack her way inside, discovering an underground market. Trying to get intel proves tough, since the locals only speak in encrypted noises that she cannot understand at all. Belle tries chatting with the local Bangboo, but EOS completely fails to translate their slang. The interactions are aggressively awkward as she just stands there listening to them mumble. She eventually spots a path leading deeper into the retroflux zone, hoping to find the actual Ina gang hideout. Entering the massive water circulation system, Belle realizes this cramped underground space is completely dominated by Bangboo. After a broken elevator ruins her route, she hacks some nearby robots to navigate the sketchy pipes. It is basically an underground parkour course just to find this secret club. Belle fixes a sparking circuit box to restore power, saving herself from crawling through more disgusting pipes. She overhears the locals yapping about a mysterious revelation. She wonders if this prophetic vision connects to the villain they are chasing, or if it is just random cult behavior. Riding a deeply questionable vehicle, Belle finally tracks down Griff, the supposed boss of the Ina gang. She realizes almost everyone here is a databoo, which makes the whole setup even more mysterious. Griff leads her deeper into the base to meet their ancient elder, Prophet Boo. Belle tries to bluff her way through Prophet Boo's cryptic questioning, but completely fails. Just as things get tense, a familiar voice calls out from the shadows. Belle discovers Ramiel chilling in the base, acting like she totally owns the place while the Bangboo treat her like royalty. Ramiel casually reveals she is basically the real leader, because Prophet Boo recognizes her from a century ago. The gang worships her because they believe the current Sunbringers are complete frauds. They saw a revelation proving the true Sunbringer is actually trapped in endless darkness. Belle asks Ramiel for help locating the crime scene, but Ramiel demands they team up to find Gertablulu first. Ramiel drops another annoying riddle about truth and ignorance. She promises to have Griff guide them to the location, proving that being cryptic is basically her entire personality. Belle gets ready to explore the lower level of the retroflux zone, suspecting Ramiel is holding back major secrets. She decides to tackle this mission without Wise and the others to avoid causing a scene. Fairy maps out the optimal route for them to follow into the depths. Sigrid accidentally interrupts an actor Bangboo's dramatic rehearsal outside a phone booth, completely misinterpreting the situation. Belle has to step in and aggressively cover for Ramiel so Sigrid does not catch the wanted fugitive. The conversation is chaotic, but Sigrid buys the excuse and walks away. Reaching the bottom floor, Belle senses intense, lingering ether that screams Singularity Leakage. She demands Ramiel strictly follow her navigation to avoid danger. Ramiel agrees, but immediately distracts Belle with a feather. proving she literally cannot go 5 minutes without being an absolute menace. They navigate through abandoned mechs affected by the leakage, constantly battling hostile forces. Belle feels massively insecure about her combat skills, wishing she could handle fights better without relying entirely on external power. The sheer amount of enemies forces them to slow down and stay extremely cautious. Ramiel gives Belle a surprisingly genuine pep talk, comparing her to the legendary Joyous. She tells Belle to stop stressing about her combat stats, because her real strength is her proxy navigation skills. Ramiel promises that Belle's friends will always cover her weaknesses in battle. After surviving the Singularity Leakage, they finally locate the corrupted mech that hurt Toby. Belle starts analyzing the data while Ramiel casually mentions the battery could literally explode at any moment. During the frantic download, Belle sees an image that looks exactly like her dead friend Sir Pico. Belle touches a strange explosive device and is suddenly ripped into Ramiel's past memories. She watches a commendation ceremony for Colonel Vike and Ramiel. They are discussing Project Sunseeker and something called a Karma Core, totally unaware of the absolute disaster that is about to ruin their lives. In the memory, Ramiel dances with Belle, promising everything will be totally fine. Belle witnesses the tragic realization that Ramiel ultimately killed Belle with her own hands. The heavy emotional weight of the past crashes down as the corrupted memory sequence violently forces Belle back to reality. Belle wakes up in Ramiel's bed, realizing their ocular implants triggered a chaotic memory swap. Ramiel admits she saw Belle's trauma regarding Sir Pico and Truvia. The vibe gets incredibly depressing as Ramiel refuses to elaborate on killing Belle, abruptly kicking Belle out for the night. A mysterious Covenant member corners Ramiel, criticizing her for accidentally sharing memories with Belle. Ramiel completely ignores the warning, saying she just wants to vibe in Rose Caifer a little longer. She clearly has a secret agenda regarding her old friend's legacy before the inevitable storm hits. Belle returns to Amber Hall, finding Wise completely panicked over her losing contact. She explains the insane memory resonance she had with Ramiel. Wise suggests they ask Lady Dina about it during the upcoming welcome banquet, hoping the island's leader can finally provide some actual answers. Late at night, Belle refuses to sleep and forces Fairy to map out all the recent Singularity leakages. She discovers that overlapping leakages massively expand the affected area. Belle connects the dots, realizing the villain is creating a massive tunnel to transport Gertablulu directly into the city. Wise catches Belle staying up late, but they both agree the culprit's goal is moving the monster into the urban district. They plan to track the path starting from the energy hub. The team agrees to prioritize safety, with Billy dramatically swearing to protect everyone at all costs. Following the leakage trail, Belle strangely ends up inside Lady Dina's office instead of the city streets. Fake Dina sends Billy and Sissia away, acting completely suspicious. Belle realizes something is horribly wrong when the ether energy originates from behind her rather than the environment. Truvia suddenly arrives for an appointment, and the fake Dina violently attacks her. Belle tries to intervene, but is totally overpowered by the monster wearing Dina's face. Sigrid arrives just as Belle flees, finding Truvia critically wounded and immediately assuming Belle committed the horrific crime. Standing completely soaked in the rain, Belle beats herself up for failing to save Truvia. Ramiel finds her having a total breakdown and drags her back to a makeshift shelter. Belle feels completely useless, spiraling into guilt while the island's alarms blare loudly in the background. Ramiel forces Belle to dry off and demands Belle return the favor by drying her giant wings. Ramiel shares a soft story about how Belle used to do this for her after rainy missions. The quiet moment helps ground Belle, shifting her focus away from the absolute disaster outside. Ramiel drops the ultimate lore bomb about Project Sunseeker. She explains they were tricked into fusing with karma cores to become artificial Enchainers. The experiment was a complete catastrophe that turned Belle into a monster, forcing Ramiel to kill her best friend to stop the rampage. Ramiel explains she is now a half-human monster whose time is rapidly running out. She needs to reclaim her power to fight the current Sunbringers. She admits she just wanted someone to hear her story before the Enchainer transformation fully consumes her mind and erases her humanity. Belle finally opens up about her own trauma, explaining how Serpico died during their ocular implant test. She admits she feels violently guilty for Truvia's current fate. Ramiel listens quietly, letting Belle vent her frustrations about always being too late to save the people she cares about. Sigrid suddenly crashes their hideout, demanding Belle return to face justice for attacking Truvia. Ramiel steps in, threatening Sigrid to back off. The tension is absolutely lethal as Sigrid prepares to fight the legendary Void Hunter to enforce the fake Dina's corrupt orders. Ramiel diffuses the standoff by dropping the bombshell that the Dina in the office is actually Gerta Blulu in disguise. She explains the monster partially assimilated Dina's karma core and is fighting for control of her body. Sigrid is totally stunned, but starts realizing the horrifying truth. They realize they cannot just attack the fake Dina without causing mass panic across the island. Belle cooks up a massive brain play to create a fake Singularity Leakage during the upcoming welcome banquet. They plan to quietly drag the monster into the hollow while everyone is distracted. To pull this off, Belle needs stable Rosetta data. Sigrid points them to an abandoned prototype in Rosewick inside Scammel Hollow. Ramiel flexes her connections, promising Prophet Boo will handle the data relay. They just need to sneak into the hollow without triggering any alarms. The next morning, Sigrid arrives with the most absurd disguise ever. 2 giant Mr. Roar mascot suits. Belle and Ramiel are completely appalled, but force themselves into the stuffy costumes. They awkwardly waddle toward the hollow, praying no one asks why there are 2 mascots. A guard stops them, utterly confused by the twin mascots. Ramiel and Belle drop panicked catchphrases, while Sigrid awkwardly claims they are hunting for lost pancake ingredients. The guard somehow buys this unhinged lie, letting them walk right into the hollow without calling for backup. Once they are safe, they rip off the suffocating mascot heads. Sigrid admits Ramiel is way more chaotic than the stoic hero the history books claim. Ramiel laughs, saying the original Void Hunters were all messy disasters who constantly covered up their actual unhinged behavior. They reach Rosewick and find the Meridian Hall key glowing right where Ramiel left it a century ago. They fight off a swarm of Aetherials drawn to the energy. Ramiel admits she was too lazy to carry the spare key back then, which ironically saved their mission today. Inserting the key triggers the area's emergency restoration system, resetting the twisted space to its original state. The group pushes higher up the ruins, hacking drones and clearing out lingering enemies to reach the prototype equipment safely before the spatial structure destabilizes again. While exploring, they suddenly hear the ghostly voice of Joyous echoing through the ruins. Ramiel is deeply shaken hearing her old friend's voice trapped in the hollow. They push past the emotional damage, snagging the final piece of the key to unlock the main research facility. Inside Meridian Hall, they are instantly ambushed by high-level Aetherials squatting in the facility. Ramiel and Belle pop off, chaining attacks and clearing the room with absolute precision. The intense fight proves their synergy is unmatched, paving the way directly to the ancient verification prototype. Belle boots up the century-old prototype and routes the connection through Prophet Boo. The system holds up, extracting the Rosetta data flawlessly. During the download, another memory echo plays, showing the original Void Hunters celebrating their tragic success, leaving Ramiel completely silent and heartbroken. With the data secured, they sneak back to the banquet venue. Sigrid takes the gear to set up the trap while Belle and Ramiel hide on a locked balcony. The tension is high as they wait for the music to start, fully committing to their insane kidnapping plot. Belle hacks into the security cameras to guide Sigrid's setup. A random guard briefly interrupts Sigrid, making a weird joke about desserts, but leaves without escalating things. With the devices placed perfectly, Belle and Ramiel move into position directly above the oblivious dancing crowd. Right before the trap springs, Ramiel drops a massive bomb, saying she is going to face the abyss alone. She forces Belle to stay behind, refusing to let her partner ruin her life. Ramiel dives in solo, fully intending to sacrifice herself to save the city. Belle refuses to be sidelined and dramatically crashes the party to back up Ramiel. Gertablulu drops its disguise and starts absorbing ether to force an Enchainer transformation. The monster creates massive blood vessel growths to power its cocoon, forcing the duo into a lethal boss fight. Dodging insane, explosive blasts, Belle and Ramiel systematically sever the monster's ether arteries. The arena is absolute chaos, but they match each other's rhythm perfectly. They cut the energy supply, halting the cocoon's growth and giving them a narrow window to completely destroy the beast. Ramiel absolutely unleashes her full firepower, checking the monster and shattering its core. She pulls a fading Dina out of the wreckage, successfully stabilizing her ether activity. They manage to rescue the island's leader, but the sheer exhaustion leaves them completely drained and vulnerable. Lindern suddenly crashes the scene with a full squad of soldiers. To protect Belle and Sigrid, Ramiel instantly plays the villain, claiming she attacked Truvia and Dina for her own chaotic reasons. She prepares to vanish, taking all the heat to preserve Rose Caifer's fragile peace. Belle completely rejects Ramiel's self-sacrifice, refusing to let her partner take the fall alone. She yells at Ramiel for acting like a martyr, declaring that true partners handle the fallout together. Her absolute loyalty shakes Ramiel, proving they are genuinely tied together in this mess. The next morning, Belle wakes up to her friends aggressively pushing breakfast on her. Lindern drops by to confirm that Truvia is finally stable and out of critical condition. Lindern officially thanks Belle for saving the island, proving the fake villain act didn't fool anyone important. Belle visits Ramiel, discovering she is being sent to Virium for treatment and protection. Ramiel explains that Bangboo stole Dina's karma core, meaning the real mastermind is still plotting. Belle drops her theory that the three Sunbringers are actually living Void Hunter weapons holding fragmented cores. After Belle leaves, Ramiel's secret covenant partner appears, calling out her lies. Ramiel admits she is keeping the truth from Belle to protect everyone's sanity. She vows to find the original Sunbringer, knowing the true battle for the city's future is only just beginning. In a hidden location, the real culprit mocks the defeated Gertablulu for failing its mission. They laugh off the setback, claiming their plan is still entirely on track. The mastermind prepares for the next act, ready to plunge Rose Caifer into even more absolute chaos.
Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.